Hello and welcome to Z. In this episode, we are flying over the sky to watch the amazing life of Pigeon. Stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon. Pigeon. The domestic pigeon, scientifically known as the Columba livia domestica, is a subspecies of the pigeon that evolved from the rock dove, also called the rock pigeon. The rock pigeon is the first bird to be tamed on a global scale. The domestication of pigeons is referenced in both Mesopotamian cuneiform tablets and Egyptian hieroglyphics, both of which date back more than 5,000 years. According to the findings of certain studies, the domestication of pigeons may have begun as early as 10,000 years ago. Pigeons have made significant contributions to humans, particularly during times of conflict, and these efforts have been of tremendous consequence. Pigeons, because of their uncanny ability to navigate back to their nests, have long been utilized as messengers in conflicts. The so-called war pigeons have sent a great number of crucial messages, and several of them have been awarded medals for their efforts. Pigeons have been honored with medals such as the Croix de Guerre, which was given to Cher Ami, and the Dickon Medal, which was given to the pigeons G.I. Joe and Patty, in addition to 32 other medals for their services in saving human lives. Cher Ami received the Croix de Guerre. G.I. Joe and Patty each received the Dickon Medal. Despite this, pigeons in cities are generally seen as unwanted pests, primarily because of the droppings they leave behind. Even though they have a beneficial effect on wild bird populations and serve as an essential prey species for birds of prey, feral pigeons are regarded as an invasive species in a number of regions around the world. Domestication. Pigeons have been utilized for a variety of purposes, including those of food, pets, holy animals, couriers of mail, and more for thousands of years. Around 5,000 years ago, in Mesopotamia, pigeons were first mentioned in written history for the first time. They were preserved in enormous quantities by the ancient Egyptians, and for ritual purposes, tens of thousands at a time were offered up as sacrifices. Akbar the Great was known to travel with an entourage that included thousands of pigeons. Because they were not originally from the New World, they were brought over to these continents roughly 400 years ago. Around the 18th century, people started taking an interest in fancy pigeons, which led to a significant increase in the number of different pigeon breeds. Pigeons have been kept as pets for a very long time, but very little is known about how they were first domesticated. It is uncertain which subspecies of C. livia was the progenitor of domestics, when exactly they were first domesticated, how many times they were domesticated, where they were first domesticated, or how they dispersed. Because of their delicate bones and striking resemblance to modern birds, the fossil record is not an effective research tool for studying these creatures. Because of this, the majority of what is known comes from written chronicles, which almost definitely do not include the initial stages of domestication. Because wild pigeons have been extensively mixed with domestic and feral pigeons, it is possible that wild-type pigeons do not actually exist any longer, or that they are on the verge of extinction. The genuine history of pigeons is further complicated by the fact that they reproduce so frequently. There are two loose ancestral clades of pigeons, according to genetic research. Nonetheless, there is impressive genetic homogeneity among pigeons as a result of frequent interbreeding as well as human-directed crossbreeding. Pigeons with elongated crops, tails, and manes make up the first ancestral clade. The second ancestral clade is comprised of tumblers, who are the most genetically diverse species, as well as homing pigeons, owl pigeons, and pigeons with elongated wattles. Reproduction. The reproductive process of domestic pigeons is identical to that of wild rock pigeons, however it may involve assistance from humans. In most cases, humans choose their partners for reproduction. It is possible to use artificial alternatives in place of crop milk or pigeon milk when necessary. These types of milk are generated by birds whose parents are both male and female. Pigeons are notorious for exacting vengeance on people who interfere with their reproductive process and are notoriously possessive of their eggs. Pigeons are known to go to great measures to defend their eggs and have been known to go to extraordinary lengths to safeguard their fruitful eggs. Pigeon chicks are referred to as squeakers or squabs when they are young. Pigeon breeding. To satisfy a hunger. Pigeons raised specifically for the purpose of being eaten as meat are typically referred to as squab and taken from young birds. Pigeons are treasured as a source of food throughout the stage of their growth known as the squab stage, which occurs before the young birds are able to fly independently and are considered fledglings. Pigeons reach their full adult size while still in the nest. The king pigeon is a breed of giant white pigeon that was produced through selective breeding for the purpose of producing meat for commercial purposes. Pigeons bred specifically for the purpose of producing meat are referred to collectively as utility pigeons. Homing pigeons. Domestic pigeons that have been trained to find their way back to their home loft can do so even if they are let loose in a location that they have never been to before and which may be as far as 620 miles, 1,000 kilometers away. Two different types of information are required for a pigeon to successfully navigate back to its home from an unfamiliar setting. The first one is their geographic location, sometimes known as their map sense. The second piece of information, referred to as compass sense, is the bearing that they must fly in order to get back home from where they are now. Both of these senses, on the other hand, react in a variety of ways to a variety of different cues depending on the context. The idea that pigeons are able to do this by sensing the magnetic fields of the Earth through the use of microscopic magnetic tissues in their heads, a process known as magnetoception, is the one that is held to be the most widely held citation needed. A second hypothesis proposes that pigeons have a compass sense that allows them to determine direction based on the location of the sun in conjunction with an internal clock. Despite this, research has shown that even if the pigeon's magnetic sense is disrupted or the time is altered, it is still possible for it to find its way back to its nest. The fact that different manipulations have different effects on the senses of the pigeon suggests that there is more than one cue on which navigation is based, and that map sense appears to rely on a comparison of available cues. This is evidenced by the fact that the effects of the manipulations have varied. Members of this variety of pigeon are still used in the sport of pigeon racing as well as the white release dove ceremony that is performed at weddings and funerals. Homing pigeons are a special breed that have been developed through selective breeding to carry messages, and they are referred to as homing pigeons. Other possible cues utilized include the following: the application of a solar compass, nighttime navigation based on the stars, visual landmark map, direction finding using an infrasound map, compass that uses polarized light, stimuli to the sense of smell, animals bred specifically for exhibition. Pigeon breeders created a wide variety of unique pigeon strains over the years. Pigeons of this type are typically referred to as fancy pigeons. At exhibitions or shows, fanciers compete against one another to see who owns the best bird by judging the various forms or breeds of the bird against a set of criteria. Among these types is the English carrier pigeon, which is a particular type of pigeon that has wattles and a distinct posture that is almost vertical. There are several beautiful breeds of pigeons, such as the Duchess breed, which is easily identifiable by the distinctive attribute of having feet that are totally covered with a kind of feather fan. There are also many other kinds of pigeons that are used for food. Because of the fan-like form of their tail feathers, fantail pigeons are also considered to be quite ornamental. Sporting. Pigeons are also maintained as pets by enthusiasts who like participating in flying and sporting activities with their birds. The owners of long-distance flying breeds such as tipplers compete in several endurance competitions. Experimentation. Pigeons kept as pets are also frequently utilized in research settings, particularly in the fields of biology, medicine, and cognitive science. Cognitive science. Pigeons, for instance, can be taught to differentiate between works of art in the Cubist and Impressionist styles of painting. Pigeons were found to be more effective than humans in locating shipwreck victims at sea during the 1970s and 1980s as part of Project Sea Hunt, a search and rescue operation conducted by the United States Coast Guard. Pigeons have been the subject of extensive research, which has covered a wide range of topics, including the perception of shapes and textures, exemplar and prototype memory, category-based and associative notions, and many more that are not listed here. Pigeons are capable of learning the orthographic processing abilities that are a component of the ability to read, as well as the fundamental math skills that are comparable to those displayed in primates. This is all for now. Thank you for being with us.